Why is it showing an internet connection? Okay, hopefully everybody can still hear me. Let me bring you all back up on the screen because I'm going to start this set up here and go to the participants over here. Drop that down to the bottom. Welcome to Sparkbooth 7.0 review. Okay, we're going to start this out with a lot of the different features, and we're going to start by going to the different screen settings that are available. The first screen setting is the main screen settings, is control number 1 or the F1 key if that works on your computer. There's a lot of new settings over in here, okay? And I'm going to go through each one of these as we go along. But I'm going to temporarily leave it on the About screen and close up the main settings. I'm going to go into the Control 2 screen settings and show you that all the settings that are over here, many of them are grayed out because within the main settings, you can now do the changes to the different on-screen settings. Okay, the show toolbar is still there. The preview button is still there. Okay, but the preview would be done with the regular layout settings and stuff like that. And the reason some of these settings are hidden are because I am using both the regular photo booth and GIF booth, and a choice for the guest to select which one they want. Okay, so I'm just letting you know there are some hotkeys you can use down in the bottom left. You can change it to whatever you want. A whole lot of different things you can make that bottom left corner do, or the bottom right corner, or the top left corner. And all of these have different settings. So you can select what you want it to do when they click on that bottom left, bottom right, top left, top right. Okay, so you've got 4 different corners that you can use as hotkeys if you'd like. Call it hot corners. Okay, my buttons are set up in the basic classic format. I'm going to give you an idea why I use that by clicking on the flat, and you'll notice it's just a big square window and the layout. Okay, and so I prefer to use the classic that actually has a nicer look to it. I could still have my album button over here on the right if I wanted to, but I'm going to leave that off for right now. Okay, so I'm going to close. That's the main screen settings. The camera settings are pretty much the way they were before. You can still do the rotation of the camera by clicking on it and moving it to the right, which moves it to 90 degrees one direction or 90 degrees the other direction. Or if you wanted to really get ridiculous and turn your camera upside down, you can do that too. So it still has the rotation. It has the green screen advanced features, turning green screen on and off. You still do that from your camera settings. Okay, you still select whatever webcam you want to use or whatever camera you have connected. Right now I am using the Logitech C920. Okay, I also have connected right now a C930, which I'm not using. But so that takes care of that. And then once I close up this, it goes back to the main screen that I was in before, that's showing the layout that they have a choice to use. And it'll populate with an image file that I'm using over here. And I'll show you how you set that up so that it shows those. If it doesn't show those two, let me go back to sharing screen here for a minute and see if I can change it to sharing an image. Okay. I brought it down here to the bottom. Come on, where's it at? Sharing my screen. I see a couple more people pop in the chat window. Let's take a look. Yes, I seen that. Thank you, John. All right. Well, for now, I'm still recording, and I want to go into the actual settings. I'm going to go through the settings screen by screen. In the About window, we still have all of the different things that you have selected to use that'll show green when you're got it set up for. If I were doing send to account or send to guest or send photo later, they would be in green. It now has a print, auto print to single printer, because we now have the option of doing more than one printer. And I'll get into that. Prompt guests for nothing, because it's not going to prompt them to do anything other than I have it set up so that instead of it automatically printing, it gives them the option of printing or not printing. But the prompts would be things like asking for a name, an email, a comment, and so on. And it's reset the layout to the default layout, which is the layout that you have in your layout editor. The same thing over here. I don't know if some things. Somebody hiccup there? Hello? Somebody started to say something. Hopefully everybody's still there. Over here, if you click on the icon, it brings up a reset settings and a debug mode. Reset settings apparently will reset it back to default and you start all over again. You don't want to do that. That's always been there since 4.0, I believe. Okay. But if you wanted to do it in debug mode, it will give a report that you can send to us, and John can figure it out because he's the wizard. Okay, so that's the About screen. The general screen has changed a bit because it basically has the select screen layouts and a couple other settings in here that you can go through. Select screen layout timeout, which means if a screen is on there for a certain length of time, it will revert back to something else. Okay, prompt timeout. Prompt timeout is so that you're going to give them an amount of time to do something. Okay, and the reason I'm saying it that way, it's more than just punching in their email for the email. Now it's also involved in using the new virtual props. Okay. Done message, it's basically when it's done, there's a message that says, thank you, I got mine set to 3 seconds. Some people don't have one at all and put it to 0. Upload timeout, if you want to give a certain amount of time to give it to upload. Okay, if you're uploading stuff, you set it for a time period. Mine set at 90 seconds, even though I'm not doing any uploads. If you got a mailing list, you can set it up for that, and you have to have it configured. That would be green if I had it configured. And you can also queue the photos to the send photo later. And that's the send photo later folder would be over here. They would be in here, and it would be set up to do that. Okay. So basically you could automatically queue it to do that. And the creating of subfolders for when you go past midnight, it'll automatically how many hours after midnight. You don't want it to change saving it to that folder. You want it to continue saving the way it in the subfolders as it was doing an hour ago at 11:30. Now it's 12:30, and now suddenly you've got all your stuff saved. But this has been in here before. It's just been moved around a little bit. Okay. Screen appearance. This is part of the screen settings that has been brought in over here. And same thing over here. If I use the flat buttons, you see they don't look quite the same. I like the classic buttons. Even though the flat buttons, you can change the color of the skip. You can change the skip to, instead of that button being red, it would be any color you want it to be. Okay. The submit button, instead of it being green, any color you want it to be. Well, if you know the color code, and the text can be any color you want it to be. Okay. I just like mine to be, the cancel button is the X that popped up over here. But I like mine to be in classic. And you can change the font and the size. be aware when you change the font and the size, depending on the size of your screen, sometimes the fonts are too big, okay? They might look real small here, but once you're into the session, you see that if I close this, my fonts at the top are not too small. They work out fine. In fact, I've changed the wording here so that you can actually see the fonts. I'll go back into the settings, right back to the window I was just on. So that's what the screen appearance is. Now we have a photo booth with a drop down, okay? We have a GIF booth with a drop down and a photo album with a drop down, because many of these settings have now been recategorized so that you can set it up for what the guests can select. For instance, if you were doing a disclosure screen, okay, you could have it as something they're going to select at the beginning of the session, okay, or a gateway screen before starting or for printing only. If you wanted a ready screen, get ready, it's up there for how many seconds you set it up for. These are things that the screen settings would have had before. Change photo layout. Okay, these are things that are going to pop up. Change background screen. They were there before. There's a new change snap camera lens. You will have to have the snap camera application set up, connected, and paid for to snap camera to use that feature. That feature is the one that follows the face and adds in different characters on your face. Okay, which is really cool, but you have to have an internet connection to use it, and you have to pay them to use that service. So you'd have that checked, okay? And you select what lens. Once you get it, you'll understand that. Change photo effect screen. That was where we would change the photo effect screen, but apparently because the window's not tall enough on my screen, when I open them all up, that one drops out of sight. Okay, that might be something. We got somebody else just popped in. Welcome to the group. Go to my chat window real quick. Yeah, you might not see my chat window pop up, but yeah, John caught that. See, okay. So, but I have all these turned off because I don't want them doing any of those special things at this point in time. Okay, but also in the photo booth, because this is just part of the photo booth. Photo capture. Okay, before the photo capture was basically setting up whether you were going to do the before each shot, it has the countdown or no countdown and trigger on screen. Okay, so this stuff has been moved around a little bit. Okay, and you can have a button or text prompt just the way it was before. It's just been moved into the photo booth mode. Okay, if you want a shot delay, you set it up for that, same as it was before. But now the wording and stuff like that, the prompts that are used, you can change it right in here in photo booth mode. Okay. Photo layouts. Photo layouts are a lot like they were before, okay, except that the icon down here with the lightning bolt has changed a little bit, because now it has the preview the layout, to preview this one, or to import a layout, or to hide, or let me click this one. This is the manage the layouts, where you can hide them, make them favorites, or delete the ones you've created. Ones you have not created do not have a trash can by it. Ones with a trash can are ones that you have created, and if you can see here, I have a crap load. Okay, so I only have a few up here temporarily that we're going to play with today. Okay, so but we're going to go through the actual settings. There is now a clear the layout cache, which is basically when you want to go from layout to layout here, I believe, it will clear this so that it works it works better. Okay. But I'm going to go back to this layout because I'm going to use this layout temporarily for our, no, in fact, I can use this one here. I'll use this layout. Yes, it's horizontal. You can make a horizontal or a landscape. We could do that before. We won't go into that. But I'm going to get more into the layout editor in a moment. Decorate photos, okay? This is where you would show stickers uh, and make the drawing on the screen with the different colors, the same way we did inside the layout editor before, but now it's changeable out here a little bit. And you'll see that when we get into actually doing a session, how it has changed by having it in here. The stickers. When you go into the stickers, there are a lot of stickers that are built in, okay? They're down here towards the bottom, okay? I've added a bunch of my own, okay? But there are like glasses that are all built in. They only have an eyeball by them because you can add more to it. And when you add something to it, you can delete it. But the ones that are built in, hair, these are built in. Hats, these are built in. Jorge has something to say. Can you type it in there, Jorge, and I'll see it? And lips, okay? But what I have actually done is I have taken like facial hair and I've grabbed a bunch. I've actually grabbed a bunch that were already built in, okay? I just know a way to do that. Or get your own, okay? And now I have facial hair. I also have glasses, a bunch, okay? But with this, and by having a red heart on it, these are going to be made available when they do a session so that each one of the photos will have a way to use the virtual props you have set up. And it doesn't just have to be stuff on their faces. It can be like bubbles, okay? Stuff to put to the side of the face. Or was there one that said signs, accessories, okay? Like a sword, okay? There's a lot of different ones and you can create your own, okay? All right, so let me put it back on the first one up here on facial hair for now. And I'm going to close that. So that kind of gives you a little idea about decorating. And we're going to get into the layout editor. Let me go see what, let's see what you say over here. When you bring in a drawing, how many pixels should it be? We'll get into that as soon as I go in. Raise your hand again, Jorge, when I get into the layout editor. And then I'll get into the how many pixels things should be. Because there may be a discrepancy on what you're referring to, like bringing in images for the props. I would suggest that you do not download a full screen mustache, okay, that's going to be placed on a 2-inch face, okay. You'll want to reduce the size of that image before you add it to your messages. And when you reduce it, keep it proportionately aspect ratio locked so that when you make it shorter, it also gets skinnier and it keeps the same dimensions, just making it smaller. Decorate photos, okay? So you see, kind of see how that works. Save folders. You only have 3 save folders in here, but understand that you're saving the layout photos, the individual photos, and the camera photos. Now, in the past, many of us did not save the camera photos, but now with the new features, I suggest that you save the originals, okay, in a folder, only because when you use the single photos, adding stickers or props in this case to the photos, those photos will be saved as your individual photos. So it's a good idea to at least save the originals before those stickers were added. Okay, so you'll have both if you need it. It's up to you. Now, there are some other things in saving in other parts because they're saving in the GIF booth. Printing. Printing has a new feature. And right now, let me see. The printing in the photo booth, this is the main printing in the photo booth. It's just going to the single printer, okay? And in my printer, I have it set up to enable printing, but prompt to print because I'm not going to be printing and I'm going to skip that when we do a session. Okay. Send to account. Everybody should know how this works. It's worked the same way it's done in the past. If you've got an account you've got set it up to send, upload to, do so. Okay. Send to guest. You can allow guests to send Facebook, Twitter. You have to set up each one of these. Okay. I only have it set up for email. Okay. Right now, but I do have it allow other settings. Other settings are like the photo preview. Is it going to be a slide in, or when it does the preview, or no preview at all? Okay, and I have mine set for 3 seconds. Screen overlays. They're over here under photo booth layouts, under the photo booth settings. So if you're doing an overlay, you can do that. Okay, green screen background, whatever green screen background you're using, the same as before, but now it's on the photo booth settings. Photo booth GIFs. Now these are the photo booth strips or full layouts with multiple photos that you would set up to be a GIF. Okay, so if you were doing a regular photo booth layout, it will do a regular GIF of 2, 3, or 4 photos, forward and or backward, or otherwise known as boomerang. Okay, which makes it go forward 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2. You know what I mean? Okay, so that's that. So I'm going to leave the photo booth layouts, the photo booth window in the photo booth layouts window, because we're going to come back to this. I'm going to minimize that. So when I open this now, I'll be able to go to the photo booth layouts. We're going to go into GIF booth. Now, GIF booth here is the actual new GIF booth settings. Okay, we're going to go into all of these and review how this works. But I'm going to come back to that because I want to go to the ones that are easier to describe. The save folder, it has its own save folder. Okay, and you note here it says single camera photos. They're configured in the original photo save location. Okay, and if I click on this, it'll actually show you that save location that's up here in photo save folder. Okay, so I'm gonna go back down here because it automatically knows that. The guy who put this together is a wizard. Okay, and he knew that when you click, you need to, where's that? It takes you right to it. Okay, so you want to save the individual photos. I am going to do a 20 photo GIF booth. Okay, it's not the regular GIFs from the photo booth layout GIF. It's the new GIF booth that will do up to 20 pictures, kind of like a video. Okay. So this is how you set up those save folders, okay? And I've got a folder called multi-GIFs that I'm saving the multi-photo GIFs in, okay, that I called multi-GIFs, okay? And this is what it looks like over here. And I don't know if you can see that. Somebody raised their hand real quick and say, I can't see it, because I don't think you can, because I've left the Spark window. Yep. We got one over here, chat. What does it say? Gray box. Okay, there's my gray box. I knew there would be a gray box. Oh, this is my save folder. How's it look? It looks great. I'll figure that out in the share screen. Let me stop sharing, and let me go to share screen, and let me share that window that I just opened up here. Where did it go? Here it is. Share. This was that window I was trying to show you right here, okay? So it basically has the GIF images. When you point to it, it'll actually, should actually tell me how big it is, but they're different. Yeah, like this one's 5.7 megabytes, 5.76 megabytes, and it's only a 600 by 400 image file, okay? And this one here is 15.2 megabytes. I don't think you're gonna be able to email that because the size of it. And when we get into setting up the GIFs, I'll show you how that works. Let me go to stop sharing, go back to the share screen, back over in my Sparkbooth window, hit the share, and we're back in the Sparkbooth window. So that kind of gives you the ideas. Guest selection. What can the guest select? The same thing in the photo booth. You can do the guest selection over here. Okay. Screen overlays. Okay. If you were doing any type of screen overlay. Now, I have done a screen overlay of the numbers 1 through 20 and set up for all the way up to photo number 20. And this is only in the GIF booth that I'm using this. Okay. You can use none. There, I also have numbers black on white. Okay. I've got numbers that are white on black, but this is just so that you can see, like if I close this, you see how it's got some black numbers and there's no white behind it. If it were dark in the background, you wouldn't be able to see that. Okay, so, but back into the settings, you'll see over here, you will normally not have anything unless you wanted to have an overlay of a logo in the bottom right-hand corner or something. Okay, and I'm having it apply it to the photo. You can just have it mirrored or not mirrored. Okay, so that kind of gives you an idea there. Green screen background, if you're using green screen in the GIF booth. Yeah, you can use a green screen in the GIF booth too, if you got a green screen behind you. Okay. Send to account, same as before, but in the GIF booth. And when I'm saying GIF booth, because you can do this only as a GIF booth and not the photo booth and GIF booth. And the same with the send to guest. Okay. And as before, allow the guest to send to their whatever, you allow that. I'm going to go into the GIF booth settings now. This is where you would select the photo booth or GIF booth screen. Okay. If this is not checked, okay, and I close my settings and I go back over into the screen set. Now, see, nope, I got my regular photo. Hi, guys. Regular photo booth. But if I go into the screen settings, you'll see that the change photo layout button, the change background button, these things can be brought up as they were done before, or use a, where's it at? Show there, it's kind of moved around here, but there's different ones that you could have. Change photo effect button, okay. Change background button, I don't want that. I want the change screen, where am I at? There's my album button, I lost it, okay. And the start button is that button down there. So I'm gonna, but you can have these, they'll work now because I put it into the regular photo booth. Okay. And let me see, did I click on anything too many over there? Let me go back into my settings that left off where I was at. I want to use both. So when I'm using both, the screen changes magically to photo, regular photo booth or multi-photo booth. Somebody echoing me? Speak up, got something to say? I left the mics open so you can open your mic if you need to pop in here. Okay, now let me get into the fine detail of this new GIF booth settings. Okay, obviously if that's not checked, it's only the photo booth. But when that is checked, you have the option of both. Okay, and you'd have it on the start screen or when the session starts. So if I had it on session starts and close this, back to the regular photo booth, and when I start the session, it will automatically say, what do you want to do? Okay, but I find that it's better not to do it that way, but to have it where it's set up so that it's right there, not wasting any time on the start screen. Okay, so if it's on the start screen, it looks like, come on, whip it around, it looks like that. Now I'm going to show you how you can have the photo booth image file over here on the left, and the right hand side, the actual, I've done one, so there, that's my sample that I'm going to use. In my settings where it says use icons, Okay, now I got to remember 32919 GIF, because when I click this here and close it, now it goes to these are the two icons that would be there unless you use the custom icons. The regular photo booth will use the photo booth layout you have set up in your photo booth layout as the default layout. But the GIF image would be one that you would need to find. Okay, so I'm going to use this GIF image that I'm using. So when I close it, now it will use my icon, which is the GIF image that I created. Over here on the right, it'll populate it. It's just an image file that takes a few moments to populate the screen. Okay, so over here, obviously you'd have to do a session and save a GIF image file, and then you would select the GIF image from this gray block box that you can't see. Okay, but it opens up your save folder where those are saved. Okay, now you also in the GIF booth, what type of photo is the GIF going to be? A widescreen, a square, a portrait, 4x3, 3x4. Okay, I'm doing a regular photo widescreen. Now, the record delay, the majority of you will probably use this at only 0.02 seconds. Okay, at 0.02 seconds, it's pretty much rapid, boom, 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 taking the pictures. Okay, because you want a fast motion. I've got mine set right now for a 2-second delay. And the reason for that, I feel I'm going to give them 2 seconds between each of the photos so they have time to change their pose, okay, any way they want. Okay, so if they wanted to do the 3 blind mice, hands over the ears, hands over the mouth, hands over the eyes, or whatever, they've got time to make that change, and it will give an audible click, okay, of the sound and show a very fast flash. In fact, it happens so fast I don't even see it. Okay, and that would be down here. Okay, the GIF delay, I'm sorry, I've got it set up for 20 frames. Frames are the number of photos it's actually going to take. Even though I have the screen overlay set for 20 numbers to go on the screen, if this were only at 12, it would only use 12 of them. Okay, so that would be all set for that. The GIF delay, 3.0 seconds, is actually how fast the GIF will play. Like the record is playing it at 0.02, okay, I have mine set at 0.03. Okay, you could change it to 0.02 or 0.03 or 0.01. I have mine set for 0.03. That's how fast the GIF moves at 0.3 of a second for each photo. Okay, the maximum size. This can get a little bit hairy. The estimated file size will show up when you click on this and move it from left to right to get smaller. It shows an estimated file size. And you'll notice when it gets to a higher size, once it starts getting, this is a file size of plus or minus 2.6, plus or minus 3.6, plus or minus 4.6, and so on. And I have found when I was all the way over to 1800 by 1200, the full size, I had some GIF images that were actually 35 megabytes. You will not be able to email a image file of over 10 megabytes. And I find most GIF images are not much bigger than a small image on your screen. Okay, so I'm using this size. You use any size you want, but if you want to send them out, I would suggest you use a smaller size. Another thing is when you create a smaller size, most image viewing software, okay, Windows Photo Viewer or whatever is opening it up, will have a enlarge and reduce size adjustment. So you can actually make it bigger if you want to see it bigger. Okay, so that's up to you. I have set for rewind boomerang. So when I play the 20 photos forward, they play backwards 19, 18, 17, 16, forward 1, 2, 3, and backward and photo and backward. Play the record sound. The record sound is basically a click sound that it plays so that you can hear an audible click and see a flash when it takes the picture, okay? And I just clap my hand so that would represent the flash. Photo preview duration, at the end of it, it'll show a 5-second preview of the image file, okay? So this is how you set up the photo booth and GIF booth. And I went through the save folders. I'm going to go through the rest of these down here. The photo album now has a general setup where you can set it up to, in the photo album, prompt, ask them for their name and their email and a comment and stuff like that, whatever you want to set it up for. Just brought into the photo booth. Image option. Now I'm trying to remember this one because I didn't look at this one too close. Enable photo album printing. Yes, we want to. Yeah, this is the setting up so that they can print from it if you want. It was the same as it was before. And then say, what was that? Somebody trying to line me? I don't know who that is. Turn off your mic. Let's take a look over here. What does that say? Chat window. Somebody trying to say something. I don't see where they said it. Okay. All right, got that. All right, so basically this is where you set that up in the images. GIF options. Yeah, I did, Randy. I did mute all of as the host, but I also left it an opportunity so those that needed to say something could open their mic, because I've got some other support people here and John here to pop in when they need to help me out so when I screw up. But somebody has a mic open and doesn't know it. And don't ask me how you find it, because on mine it's down here at the bottom, okay? And I point to the bottom of my Skype, my Zoom window, and there's a mute mic. So when I mute it, it comes back up. So there was a breakup in the mute audio there for a moment. Okay. So whoever's got their mic open can shut it, or GIF options. Okay, in the GIF options, these are the options available. Selected GIF files, they can send to sharing with Facebook, email. You set it up in here under the photo album. Okay, button labels. Okay, these are basically the print email where you change it instead of in the prompts that are down here. That has all, I mean, not the prompts, the messages down here. You can now change them in here right under the photo album. Okay, the keyboard, same as it was before. Same settings, check them all. If you have them all checked and don't use any of them, it's not hurting anything, okay? But if you don't have it checked and want to use something as a quick keyboard shortcut, you can't use it if it ain't checked. But that's been there since 4.0. Photo effects, these are the photo effects, whichever ones you want to use, all or none, and you can rename them to whatever you want, okay? Your default one is at the top. Whatever you set that at, it's going to be the default one. Countdown, same as it was before. You can add a new one. Okay. I'm sorry, the countdown, not adding. I was thinking of the counter. This is the countdown. You can test it.
3, 2, 1.
And there are some newer ones in here, whether it's a voice or a beep. Put it at the bottom and the top in the center. Okay, I like mine at the bottom for the countdown, and whatever way you want to use it, you can use it. So that's pretty much the same as it was before. The voice, this is where you use the default voice, okay, or you can use the Witch or Andy or Bert, or add in your own by using the custom. Okay, that's the same as it was before. Prompts, this is where we're prompting people to do things. I'm not prompting them to do anything. And it will save it in a prompt text folder under wherever you want to save it, and you can change that prompt saving folder. Okay, by you can change where you save it at. Okay, printer setup. The printer setup. This is really new. We now have a printer pooling setup. And the way this works is you have one printer that can do the cut prints, like the H high tie P10510, okay? And I have added a printer. If you got printers connected to your computer, you can add one of these printers, click on it and click it as an add a printer, okay? And then tell it what you want it to do, okay? I'm clicking on this one, I want it to cut, and you can set up your printer the same before. This printer here will be the printer that's going to cut them. This printer here is going to do the full print, okay? And the software knows which is which when it does the layout. That's because the guy that put it together is a wizard, okay? So basically, you have the choice of printer pooling. You will have to have two printers connected, okay? One of them set up to cut and one of them set up not to cut. That's so that you can do a full 4x6 photo and a double strip photo, okay? Which means they have a choice between the two. People have been asking, why can't I do both? Well, you can now by doing the printer pooling. Okay, I'm gonna put it back on single printer. Excuse me. Send photo later, same as it was before. You set it up to send by whatever you want, email, whatever, okay? Same as it was before. Counters, same as it was before. You can add new counters. You can add a new one for whatever, okay? Messages. The messages is the one where the text was. A lot of these messages are now built into some of the other things like the GIF booth and the photo booth and so on, okay? So kind of the same as it was before. The advanced has changed a lot. In the advanced, we have the advanced mode. Okay, the advanced mode is basically using a photo booth, using the kiosk, or using the mirror booth. Oh, we have GIF booth. If you wanted to use this only as a up to 20 photo GIF booth, you'd click on the GIF booth and switch. But for right now, I'm just using the photo booth and using both, okay? But you could have a GIF booth only. I like the option of doing both. That's new, the GIF booth only. So if I select GIF booth and clicked here and did switch, it will automatically switch it over to the GIF booth. And when I close this window, it no longer has the other stuff because it basically has the "Are you ready?" And in the screen settings, it has the "Are you ready?" and show button. Okay, let me see what this is. Show button toolbar. Please move this window away from the shared application. Okay, I don't know what window that is. Click on the touch screen to start. Okay, you can change the text, and this is in the main screen settings for the GIF booth. So basically, if I wanted to do a GIF booth, I got my toolbar up there and I can start a session just as it did before, but it will do the GIF booth. And I'm going to cancel it only because we're going to get into all this once I get back into it. Let me get back into the screen settings, get this toolbar, show button toolbar turned off, close that back up, go back into my main settings over here and put it back on the regular photo booth, switch back over, because we're going to actually go into the photo booth layout section. General, this is where you would enable, if you want to change the file names the way you did it before in the saving folder and stuff, wherever it was at before, it is now here in the application settings. Okay, resize the image to upload. Okay, you can do that. Okay, This stuff was all inside of the main settings before, but now it's over in here. Notifications. I have mine set up to notify me by Gmail for when the counter, if I go into the counters where it has a notification over here, okay, when it gets to the telling me, it'll send me an email. If I were to send a photo booth out with somebody, it would send me an email to notify me that it's run out of paper, okay? That's if I were to send somebody out. In that case, I would make sure that I have this set up so that I have time to get there before it really ran out of paper. So you would shorten the amount that your prints can actually do. Okay, and that's over in the general notification section under applications. Okay, but you can have it send an email. You can have it, I think you can even have it telephone. Let me see. I don't remember, but it'll contact you by computer. All right. Notifications, import, export, still over here. Okay, so I'm gonna close that up. Let's get into the photo booth layout. Okay, in the photo booth layout, under the set up a layout. In the photo booth layout, internet connection is unstable. Can everybody still hear me? Let me see if I can see my participants. Everybody still see me here? Turn your mic off.
Yes.
Okay, because mine little popped up here and said internet unstable.
Yep, still looks good.
I think it was incorrect, right, Dennis? It should have said a guy doing the presentation is unstable. Oh, you'll turn your mic off if you're gonna laugh. Okay. Over here in the layout editor, because I'm just doing a regular layout. Before, what is this here? What is this? 5 more. Okay, that's 5 more comments. If I were just doing a regular layout like I'm doing here, okay, this is horizontal because I do most of mine horizontal. You got more real estate for text. It's much bigger than that 2-inch screen, and I like doing it this way. But you still have the ability to add the drawing on screen, okay, and the stickers on screen, okay. But I've already set that up in the photo booth section under GIF booth. So I'm not going to use it here, okay? But I will get into how this can be convenient to not do stickers, okay? To not do stickers, but to still be able to write on the screen. Hopefully we can get to that. So you can create your layout the same as you did before, whether it's vertical or horizontal, or whatever layout you want to do. Let me see if I got a portrait layout in here. Here's a portrait layout. If I were to do this portrait layout, doesn't matter what layout it is, because when I close this here and leave it as my default layout here, once it populates, okay, and I close it here, it will populate with a new layout over there. See that? And the GIF is popping in here. As soon as it pops in, I'm going to pop it out because I want to get back to the settings. So I want to show you one thing in the settings that I forgot to tell you about. Do you remember how I said the printer, where's the printer setup, knows if you're using more than one printer? How does it know one is cut and one isn't? That was my number one. How does it know? There's nothing there that tells me how it knows that. Well, it knows that because in the photo layouts window, under the layout editor, okay, if I had checked this box display split, the software knows this one's got to be cut. Okay, if I were to create a single strip layout, printed double, like when you're doing a new layout and you click sprint strip layout printed double, it knows it needs to be cut. Okay, so that's how the software knows which one needs to be cut and which one doesn't. Okay, so just don't forget to click that when you've got a double strip, And don't forget to click that when you do a single strip, create a double. Okay? Because that's how the printer, if you're using the printer pooling. Okay, let's do a quick session. And we'll use this layout here. It's only got 3 photos. Populating the screen. Okay, let's see. Close this up because I always close my settings from my layout editor so that I recall what is the right layout. Right now it's double checking my populate the screen. Right now the guest has the choice to touch this one or this one. Choose one. Okay, if they choose this one, it goes right into the regular layout editor and starts the session.
Ready.
I'm going to cancel it only because you know how to do that, right? Now, comes back over here. Let's see what this new multi-photo GIF booth thingy is that Joe's been bragging about. That's going to make 20 photos. Okay. Boom.
Get
It's
ready.
going to do, listen carefully.
3, 2, 1.
Boom. Hear the click? Hear the click? Hear the click? Hear the click? Okay. It's going to take 12, 13, 14. This is what that 2-second delay does. It gives them time to move. Last one.
Developing photos.
Okay. It gives them time to move. Now it's creating the GIF with all the crazy things that I was doing with this webcam with not enough light. Okay. And once it's done creating this GIF, it's going to hopefully ask me if I want to email it. I can punch in my email. Okay. And it would email it to me. I'm going to skip that, but you can do that because I had it set up for emailing. And now it's done there. It's showing a preview, and it's only showing this preview for 5 seconds, or the time I told it to show the preview. Showing the thank you for 3 seconds. It comes back to this window. There was one thing I want to show you is when we do the settings, come on, go into my settings for the decorate photos. Okay, the decorate photos is done not in the GIF booth, but in the regular booth. And I have that enabled. Okay, so now we're going to do a regular session showing off the show stickers. And the stickers it's going to show off are only the ones I have a heart by. I have facial hair, I have glasses, I have the more you have, the longer, the more they have a choice across the top of the screen, the less you have. Like if you only wanted to use glasses and hats and hair and wigs, okay, I would suggest you keep it down to a short time because I've only got it set up for 90 seconds for them to select this. So, but basically, we're going to go in and do a regular one to decorate, and you put in here what you want it to say down here. And these photos are saved in the individual photo screen. So now we're going to do in the regular booth on the side over here, we're going to do a regular session, but this time we're going to do it with props, virtual props. You can turn that off as I had it off before. I'm going to do the first one like this.
3, 2, 1.
Wow.
Say cheese. 3, 2, 1.
I don't have a lot of light, so I'm trying to freeze
Last
my
one.
pose.
3, 2, 1.
Okay. So once it does a session, it's assembling the regular GIF with the 3 photos, because we did that. Now we can decorate our photos. This is where we can actually decorate the individual photo. But there's a countdown down here at the bottom. It says 49, I only have 60 seconds. So I'm going to grab some glasses and put some glasses on this guy's face right here. You can adjust the glasses as big as you want or as small as you want and move them around. And I'm also going to put in a little cute button over here. Cute right here. Make it any size you want, put it wherever you want. Okay. Whatever timing you set that up for, you have that time to do that. If I wanted to put in a little hat right here on top of the head, I'll make it big enough to fit my head, put it right up on top of my head, a little too big, make it a little smaller. Okay. So, and when the time runs out or you're done, you can hit next photo, boom, goes to the next photo. Grab some glasses over here. I'm going to put these glasses on him over here. Those don't look too hot, but we'll try them. Make them a little smaller. Okay, let's see what else I got up in here. I got some beards and mustaches. I already have all that, but if I wanted to put, let me put a beard and mustache and have one in my hand here. Make it big enough for me to hold and turn it around this way. You didn't grab a hold of it very good, but you can move it. Okay, and let's see if I wanted to put in, where's the fries? Wow. Make it, now remember, this is only on the photo, so it's going to go outside the photo if you go too high. It still has the drawing on the screen. If you want to draw on the screen, you could write, oh my. Oh my. Okay. And when I'm done, go to the next photo. Okay. So you give them, I'm only giving them 60 seconds, and you can do whatever you want with these different items. Okay. So this makes sense to you. These are virtual props. You don't have to worry about somebody getting all bent out of shape about touching them glasses somebody else has played with 22 times before and got that beer virus on it. You know, we don't want that. So basically when this is done and I hit done,
Wait a minute.
it will create this. And it's asking me, should we print it? No, I'm not going to print it, but this is what the layout looks like. Now, if I did a layout that was different than that, okay, now it's saved. That's what the layout looks like, because that was the last layout we did, okay? You can still set it up where it goes to the different layouts. So if they selected a layout, you can select different layouts, okay? This is select a file to upload. I'm not uploading one, I'm sorry. That's showing me, send a photo to another account. No, I had set up for that, okay? So, but these are the individual photos. It still has the original photos without the props on them, okay? But you could also set it up. Let's say I did a 4x6 layout with three or four photo boxes, and I wanted them to be able to sign it. Let's see what that would look like. So let's go get a layout that looks a little different. Layout window, pop up here. In my layouts, photo booth, layout window, photo booth. Where's my layout? Right there. Okay, so let's get a layout that is landscape. Okay, I don't think it's that one. Nope, that's not the one I want. Come on. But it is a landscape one. Nope, it's not that one. I got one in here. Is this it? Nope, that's the 3 Scouts. Class of 2000. Okay, this one here, okay, this layout, you see it has the big X where they could do props on the screen, okay? But what I have done here is when I set this up for the props on the screen, I'm not showing the stickers. I'm only doing the drawing, because this is going to be where it's going to sign their name on the layout. So at the end of the session, after it did the props on screen, it will now bring this up and say, sign your name. Watch how this one works. Okay, so this is the new layout. Okay, close this window. So now we'll do a session with a new layout, change it over there. Okay, so we got a new layout. So I'm going to do this layout. We've already seen the magical mystery tour with the GIF booth, which is fantastic. Now it's going to do the new section. As soon as you click on it, it starts. And we'll do this one here.
3, 2, 1.
Turn my head a little bit differently.
Say cheese.
I'll set over this way.
3, 2, 1.
And set over
One
this
more.
way.
3, 2, 1.
And I'll put my hat back on. Assembling the GIF, because it's still making a regular 3-photo GIF as it did before. Now it's decorating the photos. I'm going to do these really quick. I'm going to put a mask on him here. Let's put this mask right here on his face and make it as big as I want or as small as I want. Once I can line up my eyes to get them to where they're supposed to meet up with here. It's hard to see when there's not enough light, but the eyeballs will match up. Okay, what is this here? That's wigs. You want to put a fuzzy wig on him. Now let me show you a trick here. When you put a fuzzy wig on him, now the wig, let me move it down a little bit and turn it around this way. The wig should be on top of the mask. If by chance you clicked on the mask, that brings it on top. If you click on the wig, it brings it on top. So you can do it either way. The last one you clicked on is the one that brings it up on top. Okay? When you click away from it, it lets go of it. Okay? So that's how that goes to the next photo. Let's say that I wanted to do something over here. We'll do this mask. Make it as big as you want, move it wherever you want, but it works out nice. And by the way, any prop that you're seeing here that it may not be in the props that are built in with it, give me a yell and I'll make sure everybody gets them, whoever wants them. Okay? It still has the drawing on screen, but I'm not going to do that here. Okay? I'm going to go to the next photo. And this one here is like, where's the prize? That's what that stands for, you know. That's where's the prize. Okay, I'm done there. That's all I'm putting on there. Okay, now it's going to bring it up. Please wait. It's developing the photos. Oh, sign your photo. Now it brings up the whole layout. Now I'm going to sign it in black, and I'm going to sign with my finger. I'm writing on the screen, Joe Connell. Not very easy when I'm using a mouse. As long as I don't run out of time, because I only gave it 60 seconds and I click OK. So now I'm able to actually do props, do sign the picture, save the photo, and that's what it'll look like. You want to, how many prints do you want? You set it up for that way or automatically print. I have mine prompt to print. Do you want to send it, upload the file someplace? I'm skipping that. I'm not sending it to somebody else. I had to set up for another one. So more than one can send it. But these are pretty much all of the different fancy features. I'm going to try to take a look at my little notepad, quick review of the settings, the new GIF booth and multi-photo GIF booth, new virtual props, new multi-printer I went over. Oh, Sparkbooth 7 integrates with, okay, let me click this over to so you can see me while I'm talking. Let me put this over here, switch this back over to, where's my GIF booth? Turn this off, close this window, and you can see while I'm talking to you. Now you can see me. Basically, Sparkbooth 7 integrates with background removal services like Booth to automatically remove the background. No more green screen. You don't have to have a green screen in the background. I'm reaching up here for my massive green screen to show you. You don't have to have a green screen in, oh, of course, the wrong side. You don't have to have a green screen in the background for the background to disappear. And this GAD service, and I believe there's another one out there that's also available. It's set up in Sparkbooth. That would be in the setting. And let's see where that's at. under, I gotta find it. I do screen appearances.
Camera settings, Joe.
Camera settings, right, under green screen camera settings, Joe. Geez, that came right out of my computer. Okay, let's see, under camera, if I go into green screen off, background removal service, when you click that, it's gonna tell you to configure the background service, and you pick add booth, and if there is another one, removal BG, which is another one, whatever service you have connected with, okay, and paid for their service, because it's not free. You have to be connected to the internet, because what it does is it takes the image and it sends it off to them, I mean instantly, and instantly sends it back. I say instantly, probably within 3 or 4 seconds, out and back, maybe 10, but it doesn't take long. And then it comes back, but you have to upload the combined photos. You know, it's a process, but it will work. Rob, who's not, I don't know if Rob's here or not. Let's see, somebody popping in a message. Let me take a look. Randy, you have to sneak out. You can catch me later. We can do a one-on-one, Randy. I know Rob's not here. Okay, but Rob, I believe, has tested that, and it worked out. What he said was really good. Automatic removal. The other one is the Snap Camera hotkey. Snap Camera automatically has selected built-in facial recognition. Change your face to a cat or whatever. And apparently you can set it up for multiple hotkey settings so that the Snap Camera lenses, which ones you're going to use for each photo, and who's ever on the screen. Let me turn off the green screen. I'm going to close that, turn off the green screen, and click close. What was I saying? If you're using the Snap Camera, it will automatically do facial recognitions no matter where the face is. It recognizes eyes, nose, and mouth, and makes a mask or a hat or whatever they have in their, what they call lenses, okay? And it recognizes it, and if your head's turned, it puts it turned. It turns it right to your face, okay? And it works out pretty good from what I understand. So that is pretty much all that I can think of. If there's anybody up there that's saying, that thinks maybe I might have missed something, no? Speak to me. Say it out loud. We all set? See, it's getting dark in here. I think we're all set.